Hey friends, thanks for tuning in. As you can see, I've completed another round of shooting with my 1861 36 caliber Uberti revolver. Since my last video, I had made some changes, and what I actually did first was I took the factory sight and I took a Sharpie, and I don't know if the camera will pick it up very well, but I took a Sharpie and I colored in the left half of the front sight, which would allow me to move the front of the barrel pivot towards the left, which would help me shoot more towards center. I did not record that, but what I discovered when I did that, it moved my point of aim to where I needed it to be. So what I did after I had done that, I had fashioned myself a new front sight that looks similar to this. And I made it taller, and I put this little bead right here. And I JB welded that into the slot. Now, before I go any further in explaining this, what I had discovered is that from the factory, and it's unloaded, as you can see, no need for anybody to get concerned about it. But what I noticed is that the groove that was milled in the top of the barrel was not milled perfectly straight. It was cantered just ever so slightly, and I think that's what threw the bullets downrange way far to the right. Now, I have a son-in-law that is a machinist, and he could eyeball it himself and see, even though the groove was on top of the barrel, the highest point of the apex, it was still cantered just a little bit, which convinces me even more I should name the gun Friday's Nightmare. But anyhow, I manufactured a new front sight, a lot thinner. I took my Dremel tool and I squared up the groove, and then I JB welded it in. And today was the first day of shooting this revolver with those changes made. So maybe you'd like to see the targets. I do have everything posted at the end of the video, so you'll be able to see one through, I think I shot four targets. So how did it do? Well, I will show you here in just a moment. Before I even fired my first round ball, what I did is instead of lubricating the barrel, I took some of my lube and I packed the forcing cone with the lube. I just kind of wanted to see if that was going to make a difference, as opposed to just wiping the whole barrel down or just doing it like that. And as I changed out the targets, I went ahead and re-lubed the forcing cone again. And the wind's starting to pick up here, so I'll try to talk a little above the wind going across the microphone. So this was my first target, and let me orient it here. Now, because the front sight was very, very high, my first or second shot, I'm not sure which, just cut the bottom of the target right here, and then everything else fell below the plate. But I was encouraged by that, because every round ball was just within the 2-inch circle that I drew here, but just low. So then I loaded the revolver up again, and I actually filed the sight in between shootings. And as you can tell, I brought my next 6 shots up right here. Now this one I know I did pull. This one I knew. As soon as I shot it, it's like, darn, I pulled it. But the other 5 shots, I would dare say, are very respectable, at least for these guns. My next target and it was oriented, let's see here, like this. Now I did not refile the sights down because I just wanted to do a comparison between these two targets, the first one and the second one, to see if the round ball was printing in approximately the same place, and they were. And I should also qualify this also, this was also 20 grains of Pyrodex, not black powder, but 20 grains of Pyrodex. At that point, after I'd done my second target, I went ahead and changed to my homemade black powder 3F with all of the 4F sifted out of it. So what I have here is just 3F. I will note at this point that my second shooting session, I tried some of my homemade black powder, 20 grains, and it printed all over the target. And you'll see that right now. Okay, back to today's session. So I worked a little bit more on the front sight, and once again, before I shot the round ball, I packed the forcing cone with grease. Now, as you can tell, I actually have 2 cylinders imprinted on this particular target. And if you follow it to the end, you'll see, what did what. On my second cylinder, I went ahead and turned this target like a quarter turn, and then you'll see it, what actually happened. So I worked on the sight just a little bit more, not much, but just a little bit more. And then this was my last target, oriented like this, all 6 shots. I'm going to leave the sights where they are. I'm very happy with that. For these black powder guns, I think most of you friends know that you can't ask for a whole lot better than that. Once again, I'm at 48 feet, which should be 16 yards, and I'm going to leave it. I'm happy with it, and I'm also happy with the way my homemade black powder performed today. What I did is I put 28 grains. I shot around with 25. That was on the second to last target. I had it loaded with 25 grains, and I thought, well, 25, 28, let's see what it does. And I was just as pleased with it shooting 28 grains as I was with 25 of my homemade black powder. Now, most of you friends that are making your own homemade black powder, you will know that you have to bump it up just a little bit more to kind of equalize what may be factory Goex black powder or even Pyrodex may perform. So anyhow, that was my day here on my range. I'm actually pretty pleased with it, and as you saw, I had 1 cap jam with all the cylinders that I shot, so I'm pretty impressed with it. So you friends, have a great day, and if you have an opportunity to get out and shoot, by all means do so. Thanks for watching. Bye. That was my first cap jam. Just looking from right here, I think I'll leave the sights alone. Thanks for watching.